जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारी। यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जय राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधा गोपी वल्लभ राधे। जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे। जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल। श्री 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 राधा मदन मोहन की जय, श्री राधा गोपी वल्लभ की जय, श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माई की जय, श्री निताय गौरंग भगवान की जय, श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्लोकोपाद की जय, भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी श्लोकोपाद की जय, नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। प्रेम से बोलो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। ओम श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय। श्री नवदीप माया प्रधान की जय, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथ प्रधान की जय, पुण्यक्षेत्र वृंदावन धाम की जय, गंगे माई की जय, की जय, भक्ति देव की जय, कलिका पावन तुलसी महारानी की जय, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, हरि सिंह की जय, निताय गौर हरि प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। एकादशी महामहोत्सव की जय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्या मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनां सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवती सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिनी नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांग्रे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदाय ते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतस्वे नमः। नमो ब्राह्मण्याय देवाय गौ ब्राह्मणाय च जगद्दिताय कृष्णाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। नमां विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे पश्चात जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। चेतो दर्पणमर्जनं भवमहाद्भवग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरिव चन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दं बुद्धिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वत्मस्थापनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनं। नामकार्य बहुलानि च सर्वशक्तिस्तत्रादिपा नियमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन् ममापि दुर्दैवमिदृशम् इह जानन्यनुरागः तृणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमाननीय मानदेन कीर्तनय सदा हरि। न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितं वा जगदीश कामये मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतद्भक्तिरवैतकीतोयि वैनन्दतनुज किङ्करवति तमां विषमे भुवां बुधौ कृपया कृपया तव पादपङ्कजधूलिसदर्शं विचिन्तया नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदरुधाय गिरा पुलकिर्मिचितं वपुगदा तव नाम ग्रहणे भविष्यति। युगायितं निमिषेण चक्षुषा प्रवर्षायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दं विरहे नमे आश्लिष्य वा पादरतं पिनस्तु मामादर्शनान् मर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा विदधतो लम्पतो मात् प्रणनाथास्तु एव पर हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे करोति वाचालं पंगुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदिनकारिणं श्रीपरमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम् ओम पवित्रो पवित्रो वा सर्वावस्थं गतोऽपि वा यत्स्मरेत् पुण्डरीकाक्षं सव्याभ्यन्तरं शुचे श्रीविष्णु 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 Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji and Mataji, thank you for joining. Prasad Prabhu and Madhavi Mataji, thank you for joining. Saraswati Mataji, Surendra Prabhu, thank you for today morning Mangal Aarti, it was so nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Subara Prabhu and Nirupam Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Padma Mataji, Hare Krishna, like always, most active devotee, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining Mataji. Sharada Mataji, thank you for joining. Mahesha Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Manjula Mataji, thank you for joining. Sanjay Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Thank you for joining Prabhuji. Praveen Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Suma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for
Hare
joining.
Krishna Prabhu, Dandavат Pranam.
Santosh Aitya Prabhu and Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for joining. Sunil Sachdev Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.
Dandavат Pranam Prabhu.
Shigiraj Prabhu and Lavanya Mataji, thank you for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Kinchan Prabhu, Shobha Kumari Mataji, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Bala Mani Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavат
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Bala Mani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare
Dandavат
Krishna.
Pranam.
Amit Agarwal Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Thank you
Hare
for
Krishna
joining
Prabhu,
Prabhuji.
Dandavат Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Mahalinga Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Mahesh Prabhu and Prashanti Mataji, Hare Bol. Thank you. Vanilla Mataji, how are you Mataji now? Are you feeling better?
All good, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Bol,
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Dandavāt.
Thank you for joining Mataji. Pawan Prabhu and Sandhya Mataji, thank you for joining. Hare Krishna. Ram Reddy Prabhu, thank you for joining Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavāt Pranam.
Arvind Prabhu and Padma Mataji, thank you for joining Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavāt Pranam.
Soumya Mataji, thank you for joining. Shilpa Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining Mataji. Vivek Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavāt Pranam Prabhuji, thank you for
Hare
joining.
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavāt Pranam.
Indu Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. Lovesh Prabhu and Haripriya Mataji, thank you for joining. Poonam Mataji, Shigopal Prabhu, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavāt Pranam.
Dandavāt Pranam, Dandavāt Pranam. Praveen Prabhu and Pooja Mataji, how are you doing?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavāt Pranam Prabhu.
Thank you all for joining. Today is Ekadashi, a very auspicious day. Today is a day to take blessings from all Vaishnavas, so please bless me that I'll continue in my spiritual life and somehow make little by little progress. Acharya explained that with every Ekadashi, we should make progress. But every Ekadashi, I don't know why I'm realizing that I'm not making progress. It's like a checkpoint. But it's good, that at least we're all meeting this Ekadashi mornings, Saturday morning, Sunday mornings. I humbly request everyone to put a little effort, and try to join these sessions regularly, starting from Mangalarti. You see what happens when we attend these, putting that little austerity, Krishna will be pleased, and then we'll have more empowerment to do our services better, and definitely, our sadhana will increase when we chant along with devotees. So please try to join. My humble request. I know some of you sleep late, some of you have other office responsibilities, but whichever time you can join during the chanting, please try to join. And everybody should have eventually, should have nice altar in your homes, which is as per the Paddhati of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And you should also be able to do aartis nicely. So that cannot be learned overnight. When you attend this morning program, you indirectly also learn how to do these artis in the morning, right? So all the devotees here so nicely, beautifully, even though it's online, they're trying to do their best to do the arti and also teach all of us how to do arti, how to have an altar, how nicely it should be. So my voice is low. Hare Krishna. 1 second.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, you have to adjust the mic a little bit, Prabhu.
Yeah, let me see what is going on here.
Prabhuji, it is fine for us.
Is it better now? Is it better now?
Okay,
It's
Prabhu.
fine for us all the
Prabhuji,
time.
I am able to hear it properly.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay. Maybe because it's Singapore. It's too far. Just kidding. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you, Anand Prabhu and Charani Mataji. Thank you for joining. Yeah. So I was just saying that we need to have that extra endeavor always in spiritual life to make progress, and we need to come out of our comfort zones, right? Comfort zone is the nature of person and mode of ignorance. He always likes to have that comfort zone. Comfort zone means मैं इतना कर सकता हूँ, मैं इतना हूँ, इतना ही करूँगी. I will do this much, and this is all I can do. The moment you say that, your progress is immediately checked, right? The same thing happens even at our workplace. Same thing happens even at our relationships, right? The moment you take our relationship for granted, we start insulting each other. The moment you start your office work for granted, you're not going to see any good appraisals. And the moment you try to make your spiritual life for granted, then Krishna will not give his attention. And when Krishna is not going to give his attention, obviously there will not be any transformation in our consciousness, and we will not have anything special happening in our spiritual life. We always have to be enthusiastic. I'm telling this to myself as I'm discussing with you all, that getting up early, finishing rounds at the right time, reading Bhagavatam every day, hearing from your guru, aspiring guru or already initiated guru every day, at least for some time, and hearing from Srila Prabhupada, discussing with devotees, questions, answers, right? And doing services, whatever little that you can, conducting or supporting or preaching activity, things like that. So these are very, very important activities, right? So all these things should happen in a devotee's life. If they're not happening, then we are kind of risking our spiritual life. And all of us here have already risked 8.4 million times, at least minimum, right? At least 8.4 million times we already risked. So the live proof of that is you're right now sitting in Zoom call, again thinking, how should I go back to Krishna? Which opportunity was given in previous lives also, but we did not take advantage of it. So definitely, I don't want to take another body in a different body and attend Zoom call again. I want to go back. So I want to make sure that I remain enthusiastic. And if I'm not enthusiastic, I want to be surrounded by people who are enthusiastic and take the spiritual life very seriously. Before I start Bhagavatam, I'm sharing this, with all of you, that we have to take all our daily activities of spiritual life very, very seriously. It's not that we become suddenly serious on festivals, or we become suddenly serious only on Ekadashi days. No, it has to be a daily affair. I remember we used to live in Alwal in Hyderabad, and we used to have a house there, 3-story house. My father had made small kind of each floor, and we used to live on the middle floor, and the ground floor was always given on rent. The ground floor and the top floor were given on rent. So the ground floor had coincidentally army major took the house once. Because normally majors in army, they get their big houses within the vicinity of their campus, within the army area itself. But sometimes it so happens that those houses are not available, or they're on repair, or something is going on, and they are given a choice that you can go and take a house anywhere outside, and department will pay the rent, like that. So it so happened that the army major took the house. Our house was a little away from the cantonment area. So the major was staying down. I remember his name, Major Sandhu, and Mataji's name was, he used to call her Mickey Mataji. They were nice Punjabi couple. So they were the first army majors to stay. And after them, it so happened that they were so happy staying in our house. When this major went and some other major is coming, he also recommended them. So the next major family came and stayed there. They were from Kerala. And then he went and some other major family. So apparently it so happened that it almost became like an army house, the ground floor. We were only having couples from there. The reason I remembered them today is because I used to see the training the majors would have and the majors would give to the army people. Like even when there is no war, even when there is no disturbance at the borders, even when they're not posted in the borders, their lifestyle, even when they are living normally in Hyderabad or Bangalore or any of the cantonment areas, the lifestyle is equal to staying at the border. Right? They will make sure that 3 days in a week they'll go for a morning run, right? Something like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if some of you have driven early in the morning during here, even near the Langar House area here. You will see between Narsing and Langar House, you'll see a lot of army people running, and some of them are majors also, not just Jawans, right? So they do the morning running and they do their exercises and they're given very difficult works to do, like cleaning up the entire campus. You'll see the army campus is speck and clean. Not a single dry leaf you'll see on the ground. Not a single, morsel of any paper or anything can be seen. Absolutely kept clean. And even if one thing is found, the major or the lieutenant will call the, Jawan, and they'll give him left and right. And they will have punishments also. They're kept like on the toes and order. They have to be order takers. There is no question of saying no. If your superior gives an order, you have to take that order. There is nothing like, oh, I don't think I agree with you, or I did it yesterday only. Why don't you tell somebody else? Nothing like that. Army life is like, if they tell you, you have to do it. And I was asking this majors, who used to stay in our home. That time I was doing my graduation. Why is it like that? And they told that when you're facing the enemy, it's a question of your life and death. And not only your life and death, it's the life and death of the entire battalion that has gone to do the war in that region. And if even one army soldier doesn't follow the orders or doesn't understand the order or hesitates to perform it or is not enthusiastic to follow it, the entire battalion can die, entire group can die. And so many families will be, getting affected. And we might even lose the tract of the land or lose the battle. So there is, the culture is, the army order is given and it is followed. Like, kill them. If they say that they have to kill them, that's it. They shoot them. They have to shoot them. There is not like, oh, I don't think we should shoot here. I think I'll shoot here. No, wherever the order is told, it has to happen. And the schedule, is exactly like when you are sitting in the bushes in a jungle or in the mountains, where the enemy is also approaching towards you, how alert you will be, how less lazy you will be, how much attentive you will be. All these things are trained even when they are not in the work. Right? So provision matters is the reason I'm telling you, I'm sure all of you are very intelligent. I am taking this example. Again, I'm telling this to myself is, are we ready for the day of war? Are we ready to face the war? Or have we already given up? Are we already allowing the enemy to enter our region and make us, make us complacent and make us, basically get defeated even without a war, right? So, are we ready to face those challenges that Krishna has for us? He has already scheduled in our life, which are needed to elevate us spiritually. Are we ready to face those challenges? Are we ready to go through the ups and downs of life and make sure that our spiritual strength is holding us, right? Spiritual strength is holding us strongly when we are in difficult situations. This all will happen if we are strong in our sadhana, number one. Number two, we need to have enthusiastic devotees around us. If you don't have, leave the satsang. You don't have to be in the satsang. But because Being in the satsang, if you're not enthusiastic, then you're risking your spiritual life. You have to go to another satsang and find a place where people are more enthusiastic than you and are motivating you to do more with every single day. Not become complacent, with what you have received already from Krishna. Attending satsangs on time, right? Coming on time. No matter what services you're doing, no matter what you're doing, you not only when you're conducting, but even when you're attending, be on time. And try to be of use, try to do some services, and don't put a full stop saying that my service is over, right? Because Prabhuji and Mataji, we are preparing for the day when Krishna is going to appear in front of us, and before Krishna appears, there are so many challenges also that will appear to make us ready to see Krishna. And if we are not spiritually surcharged and enthusiastic, we might easily fall for Maya. As it is, there are so many tendencies inside us, which makes us complacent, which, where we try to see faults in others, we try to see only good in us. We think that we are the most mature devotee, the only person who can understand how to maintain lifestyle in ISKCON, the only person who can understand Grahastha ashram, the only person who can understand Shastra. Sometimes you even doubt if your guru has understood it better than you, right? So many anarthas are there, within us, with so many anarthas, and not with good sadhana, not having proper enthusiastic association around. What are the chances that we will not risk our life in this lifetime? What are the chances that we'll actually go back, come back to God, right? Something that we all have to introspect, something that we all have to think. Are things going correctly, right? Is my spiritual life progressing, or it has become stagnant, or it is actually diminishing, or actually going down, downside? We have to introspect, and one of the ways is attend all satsangs on time, right? This whole framework that Prabhupada has given, getting up in the morning, attending satsangs, discussing Bhagavatam, performing services, this whole framework is a very scientific framework. And if you're not going to be part of it, then you will be out of it, right? You eventually, that's what will happen. I'm telling you with my little minuscule experience, in ISKCON, I've seen so many devotees coming and chanting 64 rounds in the beginning, chanting and doing so many services and doing all, but the moment they stopped attending satsangs on time, I'm not only saying attending satsangs on time, I've seen them even leaving satsangs after some time. It's very simple, right? Don't think you are not vulnerable for leaving satsangs. I can tell you the list of devotees who I know in the satsang are going through some very, very difficult spiritual life. The most difficult thing for me as a preacher or a servant to them, I can't even go and discuss with them, because their false egos are so shooted up that if I go and discuss with them, they're going to leave, they're going to pakka leave that day itself. I can't even go and tell them that, please start attending, please start becoming serious, please start coming regularly, please come on time. If I tell them, khatam, then the serpents from inside will come out like that, they'll leave. That is the situation of Kali Yuga. In Kali Yuga, that is why sannyas is prohibited. A lot of spiritual principles cannot be followed. A guru cannot be a guru, in spiritual life. My guru cannot be a guru to me. He's scared. If he tells Lilanandas, you do this, you do that, Lilanandas will run away. Right? Those old days of guru telling and Shishya following are gone. Now we are too independent. Everybody has big salaries, big houses. Why should I follow a guru? For a fashion name, I'll have a guru. But why should I follow? And if I don't like this guru, I'll go to another guru. There's so many guru market going on outside. So anyway, a point is, my humble request to everybody in this call, please take this spiritual life very seriously, and don't justify for why you are not able to. Justification is a indication of false ego, which is bloated up in your life, that you are trying to justify even when somebody is trying to help you or correct you. Don't justify. Don't have to tell reasons why you are not attending, why you are coming late, why you are doing what. Just do it. Take it seriously. Festivals, take it seriously. Your services, take it seriously. prepare for your services properly. You remember that you're serving Krishna. You're not serving any ordinary person. You're serving Krishna. So every single service, whether it is cleaning the temple, whether it is cooking for Krishna, whether it is preaching for Krishna, be prepared. Don't go thinking that my Paramatma will tell me and speak something. No, be prepared. Take it seriously. In every service, you have to do enthusiastically and utilize your time. We all have limited time. We are grahasthas. As it is, our bosses are sitting greedy. Bosses are sitting in the offices who will never give us time to do anything except work. We only have limited time. Saturday and Sunday, thankfully, is spared so far. So let's take every minute that we are getting, other than the time you're working and family chores, very seriously and engage in spiritual life. So once again, please forgive me if I've spoken anything inappropriate or harshly. But I felt such kind of a wake-up call is needed for me and for everybody on a timely basis. Otherwise, we can simply go back to our old days of living in ignorance and waiting for the next body, right? So with that said, we have today's. I thought I'll discuss something nice about Lord Krishna. Is it okay, Provision Mataji? Anybody wants to comment anything before we or share anything before we get on with the class?
No problem.
Yes, please. My humble request. And all the devotees, if you're coming to satsang, please come in dhoti and kurta. It's don't think it's difficult. It's very easy. Put a dhoti and put a kurta extra pairs in your car. Even if you forget, take that and come inside, change it, wear a tilak. Kantimala should be very clearly visible, right? These are external aspects also, which we should not compromise on, right? So, like Radhesham Prabhu told me once, when you follow spiritual life seriously, you'll also meet devotees who are following it seriously. Right? When you take spiritual life lightly or not very seriously, you'll also have such devotees around you who don't take it seriously. So please try to maintain the highest standards wherever you can, so that you'll also have devotees in your life, similar devotees who will keep encouraging this. Okay, so in Srimad Bhagavatam, we are going to discuss what is the time? I've already taken 20 plus minutes explaining something else. Yeah, so in Srimad Bhagavatam, in 10th canto, Lord Shri Krishna, after his appearance, did many leelas, right? I mean, right from his childhood, he did many leelas. Right from the time he appeared, his Leela Purushottam, right? So he does so many leelas. So while he did all these leelas, the residents of Gokul, residents of Nandagaon, of Braj, started looking at Krishna. Like, who is this boy? It cannot be an ordinary boy, right? So I'm choosing a chapter today where, out of astonishment, there is a conversation between Nanda Maharaj and the residents of Braj, right? Discussing about the amazing qualities of Krishna, and actually inquiring who is this Krishna anyways, right? So it's a sweet conversation between devotees. So I'm going to share my screen. Hare Krishna. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Very good. Yes. So this is chapter 26 of 10th canto, and the name of the chapter itself is a wonderful Krishna. Right? The one Prabhupada named the wonderful Krishna. Right? So let us go through this chapter. It is a very small chapter, 25 verses. On today's Ekadashi day, we can maybe try to finish this chapter. Shri Sukha Uvacha Evam Vidhani Karmani Gopa Krishnasya Vikshyate Atad Virya Vida Procho Samabhyetya Su Vishmita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah, one second. Let's mute somebody. Please. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Sukadev Goswami said, Srila Sukadev, can you all repeat after me? Srila Sukadev Goswami said,
Srila Sukadeva Goswami said,
the cowherd men
cowherd men
were astonished
were astonished
when they saw Krishna's activities,
when they saw Krishna's activities,
such as lifting Govardhan hill,
such as lifting Govardhan hill,
unable to understand his transcendental potency,
unable to understand his transcendental potency,
they approached Nanda Maharaj
they approached Nanda Maharaj
and spoke as follows.
and spoke as follows.
Yeah, so here they are amazed, thinking about Krishna as a little boy, and they are going to Nanda Maharaj and they are discussing. So let's see the purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura explains this verse as follows. During Lord Krishna's pastime of lifting Sri Govardhan hill, the cowherd men simply enjoyed the spiritual bliss of the Lord's activities without analyzing them. But afterwards, when they had returned to their homes, perplexity arose within their hearts. Thus they thought, now we have directly seen child Krishna lift Govardhan hill, and we remember how he killed Putana and other demons, extinguished the forest fire, and so on. At the time, we thought these extraordinary acts occurred because of benediction from the Brahmanas or because of Nanda Maharaj's great fortune, or that perhaps this boy had achieved the mercy of Lord Narayana and was thus empowered by him. But all these presumptions are false, because an ordinary 7-year-old boy could not hold up the king of mountains for 7 whole days. Krishna is not a human being. He must be the Supreme Lord himself. But on the other hand, child Krishna loves it when we cuddle him, and he becomes morose when we, his uncles and well-wishers, simply worldly cowherd men, do not give him attention. He appears to become hungry and thirsty, steals yogurt and milk, sometimes plays tricks, tells lies, chatters childishly, and tends the calves. If he is actually the Supreme Lord, why would he do these things? Don't they indicate that he is an ordinary human child? We are totally unable to establish the truth of his identity. Therefore, let us go and inquire from the highly intelligent king of Raja, Nanda Maharaj, and he shall free us from our doubts. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, the cowherd men thus made up their minds, and then they entered Nanda Maharaj's great assembly hall and questioned him as described in the following ways. Right? So the beautiful purport written by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, taking the references from Krishna book. They have written these. So we'll go forward with this discussion, right? Yeah. I'll just read the translations from one verse to another. Next verse, 10:26-2. The cowherd men said, since this boy performed such extraordinary activities, how could he warrant a birth among worldly men like us? A birth that for him would seem contemptible. Purport. The ordinary living being cannot avoid unpleasant circumstances, but the Supreme Controller can always make perfect arrangements for his pleasure. Right? So they are thinking like that. So let's go to the next one. How could this 7-year-old boy playfully hold up the great Govardhana with one hand, just as a mighty elephant holds up a lotus flower? As a mere infant who had hardly yet opened his eyes, he drank the breast milk of the powerful demoness Putana and then sucked out her very life air as well, just as the force of time sucks out the youth of one's body. Purport. The word Vaya in this verse indicates youth or lifespan in general. With, with irresistible power, time takes away our life, and that time is actually Lord Krishna himself. Thus, in this case of the powerful witch, Putana, Lord Krishna accelerated the time process and within an instant withdrew the duration of her life. Here the cowherd men mean to say, how could a mere infant who could barely open his eyes so easily kill a very powerful demoness? Next, text 5. Once, when only 3 months old, little Krishna was crying and kicking up his feet as he lay beneath a huge cart. Then the cart fell and turned upside down simply because it was struck by the tip of his toe. At the age of 1, while sitting peacefully, he was taken up into the sky by the demon Trinavarta, but baby Krishna grabbed the demon's neck, causing him great pain and thus killed him. Purport. The cowherd men who loved Krishna as an ordinary child were astonished by these activities. A newborn infant cannot ordinarily kill a powerful witch, and one would hardly think that a 1-year-old baby could kill a demon who had kidnapped him and carried him up into the sky. But Krishna did all these wonderful things, and the cowherd men were enhancing their love for him by remembering and discussing his activities. Next, 7. Once his mother tied him with ropes to a motor because she had caught him stealing butter. Then crawling on his hands, he dragged the motor between a pair of Arjuna trees and pulled them down. The true Arjuna trees were old and thick, and they towered above little Krishna's courtyard. Nevertheless, they were pulled down quite easily by the naughty child. Text 8. Another time, when Krishna was tending the calves in the forest together with Balaram and the cowherd boys, the demon Bakasura came with the intention of killing Krishna. But Krishna seized the inimical demon by the mouth and tore him apart. 9. Desiring to kill Krishna, the demon Vatsasura, disguised himself as a calf and entered among Krishna's calves. But Krishna killed the demon and using his body enjoyed the sport of knocking kapita fruits down from the trees. Text 10. Together with Lord Balaram, Krishna killed the jackass demon and all his friends, thereby securing the safety of Talavana forest, which abounded with fully ripened palm fruits. Long ago, the powerful demons Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were born to the goddess Diti. Therefore, demons are commonly called Daityas or Daityas. Meaning descendants of Diti. Dhenukasura, the ass demon, terrorized the Tala forest with his friends, but Sri Krishna and Sri Balarama killed them, just as modern government kill terrorists who harass innocent people. Text 11. After arranging for the mighty Lord Balarama to kill the terrible demon Pralambha, Krishna saved Braja's cowherd boys and their animals from a forest fire. Text 12. Krishna chastised the most poisonous serpent Kalia, and after humbling him, he drove him forcefully from the lake of the Yamuna. In this way, the Lord made the water of that river free of the snake's powerful poison. Text 13. Dear Nanda, how is it that we and all the other residents of Raja cannot give up our constant affection for your son? And how is it that he is spontaneously attracted to us? Purport. The very word Krishna means the all-attractive one. The residents of Vrindavana could not give up their constant love, Anuraga, for Lord Krishna. Their attitude towards him was not particularly theistic because they were unsure whether he was God or not. But he attracted all their love precisely because, as God, he is the all attractive person, the supreme object of love, of our love. The cowherd man also asked, how is it that young Krishna feels such constant love for us? In fact, the Supreme Lord loves all living beings who are eternally his children. At the end of Bhagavad Lord Krishna dramatically declares his affection for Arjuna and urges Arjuna to reciprocate that love by surrendering to him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his prayers to Lord Krishna, says, Etadrishi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midrisham ihajarananuragaha. My Lord, you are so merciful towards me, but I am so unfortunate that love for you has not awakened with me. Sishtastikam verse 2. In this statement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also urges the word anuraga. Our misfortune is that we cannot reciprocate the anuraga or loving affection that the Lord feels for us. Although we are infinitesimal and insignificant, and the Lord is infinitely attractive, somehow we do not give up. We do not give him our love. We must accept responsibility for this foolish decision, since to surrender to God or not is the essential expression of our free will. The Krishna consciousness movement provides an efficient, systematic program to help conditioned souls revive the original blissful consciousness, which is love of God. Krishna consciousness. The intricacies of the Krishna consciousness are so wonderful that even Krishna's eternal associates, the residents of Vrindavana, are astonished by them, as shown by these verses. Hare Krishna. So, next verse, translation. On the other hand, now cowherd boys are, cowherd men are continuing. So we're just trying to finish the questions that they're going to ask Nanda Maharaj. Okay, so please pay attention, everyone. So they're continuing. On the other hand, this boy is only 7-year-old, and on the other, we see that he has lifted the great hill Govardhana. Therefore, O King of Raja, a doubt about your son arises within us. So now Nanda Maharaj is replying, right? He's saying, Nanda Maharaj replied, O cowherd man, just hear my words and let your doubts concerning my son be gone. Some time ago, Gargamuni spoke to me as follows about this boy. Srila Sridhar Swami comments, the words previously heard from Gargacharya awakened Nanda Maharaj to the truth about Krishna, and thus by Nanda's constantly remembering his activities, all thoughts about their being impossible ceased in him. Now he is instructing the cowherd men with these same words. 16. Gargamuni had said, your son Krishna appears as an incarnation in every millennium. In the past, he assumed 3 different colors, white, red, and yellow. And now he has appeared in the blackish color. Now, purport. This and the next 6 verses, 17 through 22, are taken from the 8th chapter of this canto, in which Gargamuni instructs Nanda Maharaj about Nanda's son Krishna. The translations found herein for these verses are based on those His Divinity Desi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the 8th chapter, where the verses originally appear, the reader will find extensive purport by Srila Prabhupada. See here, the disciples are so nicely connecting us back to the 8th chapter, actually where we should go in. We can go and read the extensive purports of Prabhupada. But we'll continue for now here. Text 17. For many reasons, this beautiful son of yours sometimes appeared previously as the son of Vasudeva. Therefore, those who are learned sometimes call this child Vasudeva. Text 18. For this son of yours, there are many forms and names according to his transcendental qualities and activities. These are known to me, but people in general do not understand them. Text 19. To increase the transcendental bliss of the cowherd men of Gokula, this child will always act auspiciously for you, and by his grace only you will surpass all difficulties. See here, so beautifully, Gargamuni is telling Nanda Maharaj that everything that he will do will be auspicious. So text 20. O Nanda Maharaj, as recorded in history, when there was an irregular, incapable government, Indra having been dethroned, and when honest people were being harassed and disturbed by thieves, this child appeared in order to curb the rogues and to protect the people and enable them to flourish. Text 21. Demons cannot harm the demigods who always have Lord Vishnu on their side. Similarly, any person or group attached to all auspicious Krishna cannot be defeated by enemies. Right? It's also the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, right? Where Krishna says, declare that, Sanjay says, anybody, in the association of Krishna and Arjuna will never see defeat. So, purport. Srila Prabhupada has especially indicated in this connection that just as Lord Krishna's associates could not be defeated by Kamsa, so his modern day devotees will not be defeated by the demoniac opponents, nor will the Lord's devotees be defeated by their internal enemies, the lust, materialistic senses. Wow, it's a great assurance we are getting from Srila Prabhupada. So we all are safe, right? Once again, I'm repeating the purport. Please hear it. Srila Prabhupada has especially indicated in this connection that just as Lord Krishna's associates could not be defeated by Kamsa, so his modern day devotees, which is us, all of us, will not be defeated by their demoniac opponents, nor will the Lord's devotees be defeated by the internal enemies, the lust, materialistic senses. Right? Text 22. Therefore, O Nanda Maharaj, this child of yours is as good as Narayan. In his transcendental qualities, opulence, name, fame, and influence, he is exactly like Narayan. Thus, you should not be astonished by his activities. Nanda Maharaj here reports to the cowherd man the concluding remarks of Gargamuni, who spoke at the secret birth ceremony of Lord Krishna. Text 23. Nanda Maharaj continued, after Gargamuni spoke these words to me and returned home, I began to consider that Krishna, who keeps us free from trouble, is actually an expansion of Lord Narayan. Text 24. Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued, having heard Srila Nanda Maharaj relate the statements of Gargamuni, the residents of Vrindavana became enlivened. Their perplexity was gone, and they worshipped Nanda and Lord Krishna with great respect. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that in this verse, the word Anarchu indicates that the residents of Vrindavana honored Nanda and Krishna with such offerings as fragrances, garlands, and garments brought from their homes. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds that the residents of Vrindavana honored Nanda and Krishna with loving offering of jewels and gold coins. Apparently, Lord Krishna was playing in the forest when this conversation took place. So when he returned home, the residents of Vrindavana encouraged him by decorating him with beautiful yellow garments, necklaces, armlets, earrings, and crowns, and by shouting, all glories to the jewel of Vrindavana. Now the last verse, Provision Mataji's translation. Indra became angry when his sacrifice was disrupted, and thus he caused rain and hail to fall on Gokula, accompanied by lightning and powerful winds, all of which brought great suffering to the cowherds, animals, and women there. When Lord Krishna, who is by nature always compassionate, saw the condition of those who had only him as his shelter, he smiled broadly and lifted Govardhan hill with one hand, just as a small child picks up a mushroom to play with it. Holding up the hill, he protected the cowherd community. May he, Govinda, the Lord of the cows and destroyer of Indra's pride, be pleased with us. Please repeat after me. May he, Govinda,
Govinda,
the Lord of the cows
The Lord of the House
and the destroyer of Indra's pride,
the
And the
destroyer of
Indra's
Indra's
pride,
pride,
false pride, be pleased with us.
be pleased with
with
us.
us.
Hare Krishna. So I'll read the purport, the final purport here. The word Indra means Lord or King. Thus, in this verse, Krishna is pointedly called Indro Gavam, the Lord of the cows. Right? In fact, he is the real Indra, the real ruler of everyone, and the demigods are merely his servants, representing his supreme will. It is apparent from this and the previous verses in this chapter, the Lord Krishna's lifting of Govardhana hill made quite an impression on the simple cowherd men of Vrindavan, and they repeatedly remembered this feat. Certainly, anyone who soberly and objectively considers the activities of young Krishna will surrender to him and become his eternal devotee in loving devotional service. That is the rational conclusion one should come to after reading this chapter. Thus ends the purpose of the humble servants of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the 10th canto, 26th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Wonderful Krishna, Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Right. So, at least I'm happy that on an auspicious Ekadashi day, we all could read one chapter of Bhagavatam completely, right? It's a small chapter, small purpose, and we could discuss the actual conversation that happened. Now, this is not a drama conversation written by somebody. It was a real conversation that happened at least 5,000 years ago in Uttar Pradesh, in Bhauma Vrindavan, between the cowherd boys and Krishna. So, Prabhuji and Mataji, what do you think? After this whole conversation, when Nanda Maharaj told the cowherd boys and the cowherd men that actually indeed Krishna is Narayan or equal to Narayan or an expansion of Narayan, how could the cowherd men continue to love Krishna as a cowherd boy? Won't they stop worshipping him again? And what would have happened? Would they remember what Nanda Maharaj told them all the time?
Krishna would have given forgetfulness, Prabhuji.
Yes. Krishna would immediately put the Yoga Maya. Right? Now, who is the one removed that Maya? Krishna only. Right? For this chapter to appear, Krishna removed the forgetfulness and gave them remembrance of all his pastime for the last 7 years. And then as soon as Nanda Maharaj gave the reply that, hey, Krishna is actually Narayan, immediately he put back that forgetfulness. That is called what? Yoga Maya or Mahamaya?
Yoga Maya.
Yoga Maya. Yeah. So we also have to recognize Krishna in everything that we see. That is when we can remember Krishna, right? Today's daily quote, I'll read the daily quote of Srila Prabhupada. Such a beautiful way Prabhupada is writing how we can see Krishna everywhere, right? Yes. Krishna. Prabhupada gives an analogy here of a small child and his mother, right? So I'm repeating it. The child is born. Immediately, there is milk in the breast of the mother. And 1 minute before, there is no milk. Just the child is born, immediately, who supplies the milk? He does not see that one supreme is supplying all the necessities of the others. So our duty is only to become Krishna conscious. Other things will be supplied by Krishna. Bus. Prabhupada sometimes to end by saying bus, the Hindi word bus. So just saying, yeah, done. So this is what it means, right? So here also, Brajavasis are so fortunate that they're remembering Krishna. They're always remembering Krishna. They're never forgetting Krishna. And they are discussing about Krishna. Our life should also become like that, whereby the only thing we discuss is Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. How do we serve Krishna? How do we learn about Krishna? How do we get mercy of Krishna? These are the only topics. Because everywhere else, Prabhuji, as soon as this call will get over, maybe at 8:30, another few minutes, nobody will talk to you about Krishna, isn't it? Over. Devotees are there, Krishna is there. As soon as devotees are gone, Krishna is also gone. In a way that you will not be able to talk to anybody. Can you imagine going to office and telling your boss, sir, can we start our day by talking about Krishna? He'll say, first go and do your work. Right? And neither would your subordinates also here. Even if you call your assistants and tell, Okay, let us discuss about Krishna. They'll think, oh, this fellow, is going to tell you to listen now because he's paying the salary. Nobody is interested about Krishna. The only people who are interested about Krishna are devotees of Krishna. And we are so fortunate that we have got association of devotees of Krishna. So don't take it for granted. Take this very, very seriously. And increase the amount of association, right? And we can discuss many times how you could experience Krishna's presence in your life. Whenever you talk to devotees, don't talk about unnecessary matters which are not relevant for Krishna consciousness. For example, discussing about some deal in the internet or buying something for less price in Koti versus Abbott versus Gachibowli, or discussing about some real estate plot or a land or a, that you are bought or you're buying or anything like that. Don't waste your time more. You might want to help devotees in the whole action of help. You might want to share some material details also, but let that not be the only conversation you have with the devotee. Let there be more and more doubts that arouse into you about Krishna. Doubt as in not doubt, but inquisitive doubts or inquiries to know more and more. Let that be more coming out of you, and let that be the main topic of your discussion whenever you meet a devotee. Or it can be about our sadhana, how to improve our sadhana, how to improve our chanting, how to improve our spiritual life. That can be discussed as well, right? So let that be more. Exactly like whenever Nanda Maharaj is meeting the cowherd men, or cowherd men are meeting Nanda Maharaj, they're discussing about Krishna. And surprisingly, even when Krishna is not there, they are discussing about Krishna. So Krishna is there all the time, isn't it? The purport explains that Krishna was not there when this conversation was happening, but Krishna was there. How he was there? His holy name was there. They were discussing about Krishna. So in Vrindavan, Krishna is there always, because whether or not his physical presence is there, Krishna is there in the hearts of all the Vrajavasis, right? So we have to find happiness in discussing these leelas. Just like as Prabhupada explains in purports, the sugarcane juice tastes sour for a jaundice patient. Sometimes Krishna leelas will also taste very sour for us. We will not appreciate them. We will not find the same amount of joy like Goswamis are finding. We will not be able to dwell in those leelas, and we might even say boring. It's possible because we are suffering right now. It's not the problem with the leela. It's not the problem with what's written in the book. It's our problem that we don't find it attractive, right? Because we are diseased. So we have to come out of the disease of materialistic consciousness and bring in Krishna into our life, right? And let go of all the fears. So beautifully, Gargamuni concludes saying that, hey, Nanda Maharaj, consider your child always auspicious, and all difficulties will be resolved, whatever will come. He is not saying difficulties will not come. He's saying difficulties will come and they'll be resolved also, right? So being in Krishna, being with Krishna and becoming Krishna conscious, fear will not go, but fearfulness will go, right? So that you have to understand. There is a difference here. Is there a fear? Yes, there is a fear. And is being fear or having fear a bad thing? No, having fear is not a bad thing. This fear is a natural reaction of the body, natural emotion of the body or consciousness that wants us from getting into problems, right? For example, a small child goes to there is a family who is living in a big skyscraper building, it's a 20-floor building. And a small child goes to the balcony, and just imagine the balcony is, he's standing on a bench or something, and he's leaning down, and he's not fearful. Just imagine what will happen. If he's not fearful, then he might even fall, isn't it? He might fall, and the mother will be very, very much in anxiety that my child is not fearful. My child, he is not having fear, right? The mother also has a fear. The child also having a fear is a good thing, because that will save the child from falling from the balcony. So the child having that fear is a good thing, and mother also having that fear is a good thing. But even when he is walking in the hall or walking inside the house, still carrying that fear, means you are fearful. And fearfulness is not a positive quality; it's a negative quality. So we should not be fearful, but we can have fear. Just like pain also is a positive emotion, not a negative emotion. When there is pain, you are saved from painful activities, or you are saved from getting into an uncomfortable situation. So the pain comes and tells you, no, don't. For example, if there is a nail on the bench that you're sitting or the chair you're sitting, and as soon as you sit, it will poke you and the pain will come. So the pain will immediately indicate that don't sit here because it's not good for you, right? There's something wrong. So every emotion is natural. Anger, pain, all these things are natural. But when you keep Krishna along with that and depend on Krishna, then all these emotions will become auspicious. Whatever difficulties that will come out of them will also become auspicious, right? So Krishna's presence makes everything auspicious. So that is the most important message that we should take away into our lives. But let us make our life auspicious by humbly remembering Krishna all the time. Yesterday, Vamsivadan Prabhu in Bhakti Shastri class was so beautifully explaining that how fortunate are we that we got devotional service. Devotion, how fortunate are we? Not everybody gets it, and there is no qualification for it. Qualification is given. A devotee gives devotional service causelessly. That's a transcendental lila between God and the devotees, how they give that. But prema bhakti is given, not taken, not earned. It is given. Right? And we are also fortunate that we have somehow Krishna has created that interest in all of us to hear about Krishna and to learn from Krishna and implement that in our life. Right? So we are very fortunate. Because not everybody who came to Srila Prabhupada became a pure devotee. There are many people who came to Prabhupada, met Prabhupada, spoke to Prabhupada, but never became Krishna conscious. Maybe in future life, they might be getting another opportunity. But many a times, not everybody is fortunate to get attraction toward devotional service. It's very rare. So if we are all in this satsang, we are the most fortunate people. With no comparison of who is senior or junior, we all have been given the causeless mercy of Krishna, which is why we are able to sit in 3 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, how many hours classes, and which is why we are able to give away our hard-earned money in Krishna conscious projects, which is why we are able to change our lifestyle, change our dining table, or what's on the dining table, basically, in terms of what we should eat, what we should see, what we should not see. All these things are very clearly implementable in our life only because, not because of your determination, because Krishna is making you attracted to him, and Krishna is empowering you to implement the choices which will make you more Krishna conscious, right? So we should be always grateful, very, very grateful to Krishna, and we should always be happy inquiring about Krishna and discussing about Krishna and associating with Krishna's devotees. So I pretty much wanted to speak only this much today, and just wanted to remind all of you the seriousness of spiritual life. Don't take it easy, Prabhuji and Mataji's, and don't you ever hear to your mind which talks about independence and independent nature. That is the biggest problem. The moment you become independent, you will stop becoming dependent. Same, two sides of the same coin, right? You're independent means you're not dependent. And when you're not dependent on Krishna and his devotees, we discussed on length, I think in Subara Prabhu's house, if you can go back to that Sunday evening lecture, I gave like 10 examples of how being dependent will make you independent. So let's try to be dependent on each other always, and attend many satsangs, and be serious about attending these satsangs. And if you have somebody in the satsang who is taking it easy, please try to remind him in your own way, informal, formal way, that don't take this seriously. I mean, don't take it lightly, take it seriously, and make sure your spiritual life flourishes, and we all will not take birth away. We'll go back, come back to God. So any questions, clarifications, thoughts, reflections? Let's go ahead and take it, and we'll end today's class.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing this nice lecture. So I was not aware of it. Now thinking to narrate now this to Chavi as well. So this actually captures, like in a small gist, all the pastimes. So thank you.
Thank you, Sunil Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Srinivas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Here in the previous verses, it has been told between Gargamuni and Nanda Maharaj that this child is an expansion of Narayana. But we have been taught that Narayana is an expansion of Krishna. So which I don't understand that point, sir. Prabhuji.
Yeah. So both are true. Narayana is an expansion of Krishna is also true. Krishna is an expansion of Narayana is also true. Because whenever Krishna appears in this material world, he comes through the same protocol of appearing like an expansion of Narayana. He doesn't change the protocol.
Oh. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna is an avatar. Krishna is also an avatari. Both, right? He comes to the same. So that's why Vyasadeva tells in Bhagavatam that Krishna is the Bhagavan Swayam. He appears as an incarnation. So he is Swayam, Bhagavan also.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Charanam.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. I just had a question. I have listened to certain lectures where they have stated that from Krishna there is an expansion of Balaram, and from Balaram there is Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshana, and Vasudeva. So I know Sankarshana is the snake with 1,000 heads. The remaining two, who are they? Like Pradyumna and Aniruddha.
Yeah, they also appear with the same potential, and they represent the different things that Lord holds, right? The conch shell, the other things that he holds, they also are with Krishna at all times. And there is a quadrupular second expansion also, where again, you see the same four expanding out, and then comes Narayan. And then finally comes Narayan in the Vaikuntha Loka, who is attracting all the souls back to Vaikuntha Lokas. And then Narayan expands into Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. And Sadashiva, along with Mahavishnu, enters all the universes. Sadashiva expands himself as Lord Shiva, and Shiva into many Rudras, and Mahavishnu into Garbhodakshi Vishnu and Shivadakshi Vishnu, into all living entities and into all the universes. Yes, that's true. If you really look at it, Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he's always in the mood of serving Krishna. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. We should hear those lectures. Actually, it's very technical. Even I need to hear it again, just to brush up. Because there are so many technicalities inside. There is one Prabhuji, his name is Goloka Prabhu or Gokula. I forgot his name. If you go and type Goloka chart in YouTube, there is a series of 4 lectures that will come. It's seminars given on 4 days to devotees. It's nicely recorded, where the Prabhuji will explain the whole Goloka chart. How the expansions happened, what is the meaning behind them, and how to understand them. With our little intelligence, don't think that we'll be able to understand it. We're only going to listen to it and accept it and pray that Krishna will give someday the intelligence to understand it. The signs of God, not that easy. Yeah. Any other questions, thoughts, reflections? So since all of you are here, I also want to tell you in advance that the weekend of 25th and 26th of June, don't go to any marriages, any birthday parties, especially 26th, that Sunday, because we have Dwarkadish Prabhu and His Grace Dwarkadish Prabhu and Her Grace Vishaka Priya Mataji coming and spending a whole day with all of us. Gachibowli Satsang. So morning Bhagavatam class, they might be giving in Amal Mahaprabhu's house, and after that they'll come to Vaishnav Seva Kunj to do some Go Seva. You all can come to Vaishnav Seva Kunj by 11 o'clock or something, and also perform some activities for the pleasure of the cows. Prabhuji and Mataji will also come there, spend time till 1:30, and then Mataji and Prabhuji will come back to our home. And there is a special session for all Matajis. You can contact my wife. Only Vishaka Priya Mataji is going to spend time only for Matajis. And in the evening, we have a bigger program with all the devotees, right? Where they both will address everyone. And next day morning, we'll drop them, we'll leave them in the airport. And we'll go back to Bombay. So please block your 26th June. 26th June, which is a Sunday. And also block your 1st of July, which is a Friday, because Lord Jagannath is coming. So there will be a lot of services before the Jagannath Rath Yatra. Yesterday we had a call. Some of you who are not taking up the services, please try to. Even now there is opportunity. Join that Seva group and be enthusiastic and reach out to certain devotees, specifically Praveen Prabhu, Suma Mataji, Mahalingam Prabhu, Giraj Prabhu, myself, and a few others, Santosh Aitako, to discuss what services you want to do or what you have in idea, what you have in mind, how you can serve Jagannath this time. If you have any unique, or ask them if they can grant you any services for the task that they have taken up, right? So that's one thing. I have one service where I need 10 devotees on one Saturday, probably the 6th, 7th, like 10th of June or 11th of June is a Saturday. So on that day, we all have to go with our cameras to the exact way in which Jagannath Rath Yatra goes, right? So we have to take videos of people in the shops and the people who are there in that locality of what they feel about Rath Yatra. So they'll share. So just take small 30-second, 40-second videos, collate them all. Basically, Rath is going to come every year. They all wait, the shopkeepers and the thelawalas and everybody. So we're going to go and ask them, how excited are you to see Jagannath this year? So then we're going to make small videos out of that, and then so we'll give one locality to one person, right? One road to 2 devotees, each road to two devotees, so they can cover the entire road and take as many videos, small videos, going and approaching people, right? So I need 10 devotees for that. You can separately message to me, and I'll make a note of it. And we want to do it in the second. The sooner the better, because we want to start releasing those videos. Yeah. So any other thoughts, on what we discussed today? And please forgive me, Prabhuji and Matajis, for pushing you all, maybe, or trying to push you all to attend these sessions more regularly and more enthusiastically. I'm already grateful for everybody who has been all along tolerating me and has been contributing immensely for the growth of his satsang. So I humbly request Krishna that he always keeps me in your association. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhobhya evacha pathanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnav vindasya. Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.